According to the Financial Times, independence is a virtue whose reputation is in decline. The idea of independence tends to have a negative idea. It's usually associated with being lonely, being a hermit, the weird person down the street who lives on their own in the house. Everybody has those ideas of those people who are all alone and independent. But independence isn't just being alone, that kind of stuff. Independence focuses more on becoming an adult. Being on social media, independence can play a huge role in remembering on who you are. And also, independence can be a big part of being in a relationship. With becoming an adult, you need to learn to fend for yourself. And in today's society, that idea has kind of fallen behind. You see a lot of kids living with their parents, with their grandparents, basically having things taken care of for them. They're not independent, they're not fending for themselves, they're not figuring things out. Birds push their young out of the nest to learn to fly. That's not happening now. But it's not a bad thing to be pushed out of the nest, be independent, learn how to fend for yourself. There's also taking responsibility for yourself. The parents are helping kids kind of stay delayed in this area in figuring out how to do things for themselves. A lot of college students report that they don't even know how to use a laundry machine. They don't know how to do their own clothes. Some of them don't even know how to make a box of macaroni and cheese, because a lot of that's how they were raised. That's how they learned. And then along with that, with becoming an adult, they tend to repeat things their parents say. You tend to follow the beliefs and ideals as your parents are. But it's kind of that idea of, if your friends jumped off a bridge, are you going to follow them? Just because your parents think that way, are you going to think it just because that's what they told you to do? Are you going to think for yourself and kind of figure it out? Being on social media, you also have a thing of trying to maintain your independence. Independence is a huge thing to try to maintain on social media. It's about not believing what you're told. It's the whole idea of the fake news and everything else. The Financial Times put it in a really great way. Independence is having the ability to work out 2 + 2 = 4 for oneself, rather than believing it does just because the teacher said so. You see a lot of things on social media, and a lot of people just believe it just because that's what they're being told. That's what they're seeing. But they're not actually figuring out a problem, thinking for themselves on how to do it. And a lot of things, just because it's a trend, just because it's popular, that's the idea they believe, that's the idea they follow. They lose their own opinion and thoughts, really. In relationships, independence plays a huge part. It goes back to that idea that being independent means lonely. But it doesn't. There are a lot of people who are still independent, but still have these really big and great relationships. There are a lot of couples, I guess, of previous generations before us, that they're still independent. Individuals, they still go to work, they have lives of their own, they're their own people, really. But at the end of the day, they come home and they have someone to rely on. They do have those people. Being independent doesn't mean you lose someone. Doesn't mean you don't have someone to rely on. Doesn't mean you don't have someone who's significant to you. It just means that you stay with your own ideas. Like if you have your boyfriend or girlfriend, husband, wife, spouse, if they like a certain kind of music and you like something else, it's not the idea that you become, oh, we like that kind of music. Oh, we like that kind of music. It's, I like this music, he likes this music, she likes that music. It's staying true to who you are and not losing yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. you're not lonely just because you're independent. You can still have someone else. But it's also not wrong to be on your own and be independent. You don't have to have someone else. That idea tends to be a little old-fashioned. You can still be on your own. You can live on your own. You don't need a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, anyone like that. You can be on your own, and that there's nothing wrong. That's actually really great if you can live on your own. You can support yourself financially. You know how to cook, clean, do all that, kind of maintain your life. There isn't anything wrong with that. Independence is a virtue that is so underrated and not seen as important or significant anymore. Because so many people rely on parents, grandparents, spouses, other people. They don't rely on themselves anymore. It's a huge thing for you to be able to figure out how to cook, how to clean your own house, not someone else's. But independence is a huge key, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. It's important for growing up and trying to navigate society today with the different news sources and social media that you have around you, and also being in relationships. It's really key to focus on that part, on staying who you are and being yourself.